Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to download and install P6 EPPM. For this we're going to go to the eDelivery cloud site from Oracle and sign into your user account, accept the license terms, and from here select the product pack as Primavera applications and the platform that you're using. In my case I was using a Windows 64 version. Once the list has loaded, scroll down to the Primavera P6 Enterprise Project Portfolio Management. Version 8.3 is the latest version at the time of this video. And from here download the P6 Enterprise Management for Microsoft Windows. If needed, you can also download the API and the client and the P6 tools. I've already downloaded this ahead of time. I have it on my local system. So once downloaded the zip and extracted, you'll have this P6R83 folder. Go into disk 1 and install and launch the setup.exe. And this will launch the Oracle Universal Installer. We're going to go ahead and install on the P6 EPPM. So this will create the local folders on our system. Select the applications that you want to have installed. I'll leave the default and also include team member for the moment. By default, the application will detect Java Home. Review the settings and click Install. This will copy the files quite quickly and launch the EPPM configuration. I'm not going to continue with the configuration because I want to show you how to manually launch this configuration as well. In order to launch it, you'll need to go to the EPPM home folder that we just installed and go to P6 and EPPM config. Once this is launched, we can continue on with the steps and install P6 EPPM. So we want to create a new P6 EPPM database. For this installation, I'll also select the install sample project. I'm going to connect to an Oracle database installed on the local system. On the default port 1521, I'm going to connect to the default DBA. And I'm going to connect over the SID. You can also connect over a service name if you prefer. So if I were to insert the wrong credentials, the application will warn me ahead of time. Before continuing, I want to run one of the scripts included in the installation. So if we go to P6 Suite database scripts and go into the install folder. The install folder contains a script, manual script before install. The script basically grants a user execute properties. So what we're going to do is create a SQL statement that will execute the script. And we're going to connect through SQL Plus to the database. and we're going to connect as the sysdpa user. Once connected, I'm just going to paste in the command to execute the script. So in order to execute any script, you need to do an add script path and then name of the script. Okay, wonderful. So we have the necessary rights, and I'm just going to exit for both of the applications, and we're going to continue with the installation. Now we need to create the users. These 5 users are all database users. The ADM user is the schema owner for the ADM for the P6 EPPM database. The privileged user is the user that is used by the application to connect to the schema and retrieve the necessary data. The pub user is a security measure used by the application to connect to the database and retrieve the privileged user credentials. The background job user, as the name says, it's a user that runs various background jobs to clear unnecessary data and other scheduled tasks. And the PXRPT user is user used for the P6 EPPM extended schema and for the BI publisher integration. Here we'll also insert the password for the administrative user for P6. We're going to go with the default configuration. If you'd like, you can change the name here. We're going to configure a WebLogic domain as well. By default, this pastes in the default installation path of WebLogic. If you have WebLogic installed in under a different path, please change this. Here we'll also insert the credentials for the WebLogic domain. We leave the default settings and we'll then set the password for the WebLogic user. I'm not going to configure a content repository, neither BI Publisher nor BPM. I'm going to do videos on this later on. And once the configuration has been done, you can review it, and we're going to go to next. And yes, and this should install the system. The database installation will take a while since I also selected the load sample data option. Okay, once the configuration finishes, we can click next. If you need, you can save the configuration settings and click finish. Let's check that the application is running. So first I'm going to connect to localhost and go to the admin console. Make sure if you go under environment and servers, you can see the status of the managed servers. So P6 is running, PR is running, and team member is running. And here also the respective ports are listed. Now let's go to the P6 installation. I'm going to go to 8.2.03/P6. And we can check the login here if it worked. I'm going to ignore Java update needed. Java will always want to, or will have an update. And let's also make sure that the user has access to progress reporter and team member. Let's go to users, and we can see that it has access to progress reporter, and it doesn't have it to team member. I'm going to enable it. And now let's check the other servers as well. So if we go to localhost 8204/PR, this should be the address of progress reporter. Let's enable Java. And progress reporter is working as expected. And let's also check team member. Don't remember the address exactly, but we can go to WebLogic and check the deployment on what exactly is the address. If you go to P6 TM and go to testing and expect P6 TM web is the default address. And let's log in with admin and admin. Okay, we don't have any signed tasks and projects at the moment. Okay, so everything is working. I'm going to show you one more steps in controlling the P6 installation. If you want to control it using Node Manager and WebLogic scripting. So by default, because we use the configurator, if we go to the P6 EPPM home and go to the scripts folder, we notice that we have the start and stop Primavera batch files. These files use WebLogic scripting to control the domains, but in order for these files to run, we need to have Node Manager installed or running. They can also start it, but it's not always an exact process, and it might not work. So to have WebLogic as installed as a server, I'm going to go to the WebLogic server. I'm going to go to middleware, WebLogic server, and in here under server and bin we have install Node Manager service CMD. Most likely we still have port 5556 running because it was started by P6. So now let's go to the P6 home and let's stop the P6 services. Once this finishes, I'm also going to launch a resource monitor and go to network and listening ports and see if the servers are still listening. So we don't have anything on 7001, 8203, 8204 and 8207, but we still have a Java process listening on 5556, which is the default node manager port. We can stop this WebLogic node manager process, and we have installed the service. So if we go to administrative tools and services, we can start node manager now. If we go under Oracle WebLogic node manager, this is by default set to automatic, and we can start it, and we can notice that port 5556 is listening on BA services. Once this is started, we can start the Primavera domain again. And I'm just going to monitor the ports in the resource monitor. So now P6 should be starting on 8203. Once P6 is started, progress reporter should start next on 8204. And then team member. And for a server, you can also automate this process by configuring a scheduled task to run the start Primavera batch file when the server is started. Okay, this is all. Thank you for watching.